Are you looking to improve your lower body mobility? Join me, Hannah, a yoga teacher and mindful movement advocate, for this slow and nurturing hip mobility yoga flow. Today I'm going to guide you through a series of exercises to help increase flexibility and range of motion in your hips, in your legs and your ankles. Whether you're an athlete, a fitness enthusiast, or simply want to move better in your daily life, this flow is designed to help you achieve your goals. Let's get started and unlock your lower body potential. Let's begin lying down on our mats. Bring the feet a good hip width apart. I've actually gone as wide as my mat, and TP the knees together. Place hands onto your lower belly and let's just take a few moments to bring an awareness to our breath today. When you're ready, just let go of the exhale or the breath that's still in you. Inhale deeply through your nose. Let the breath out through the mouth. In through the nose. Sigh the breath away. One more of those. And then close the mouth and continue to breathe purely through your nose. So today's focus is on our hips, on our knees and our ankles. We're going to start by bringing the arms out to the sides and just let the knees gently drop down either side. So choosing to keep the feet relatively wide here. I've got them still as wide as my mat, and I'm just allowing those knees to lift and lower to wherever they fall, really. Don't overthink if one knee is a lot higher than the other, but do be mindful of the differences between the two sides. We're just cultivating an awareness of how our body moves, creating a relationship between our movement and our physical being. And we're also creating a sense of allowing for these differences. Can we bring just curiosity to our brain rather than judgment when we do find differences? Maybe you notice that you're feeling a little more tight or tense, or more sensation through perhaps the right glute over the left glute as you roll side to side. Maybe you notice that the left knee hovers a lot higher off the earth than the right knee. Again, we're just putting this in the bank of knowledge with that curious mind. Okay, you're going to drop the knees down towards the left side now, and we'll pause. You could choose to change the arm shape a little bit. I've chosen to raise them a little higher so I feel a little more expansive through chest. You could choose to turn the head the opposite direction to the knees. Only if it feels right for you. Maybe your left ankle feels very comfortable being placed on top of the right knee. It is creating more gravity pull now through that right leg pulling down. If you've chosen to do this, it might be worthwhile flexing the left foot. I always find that that locks things into place a little easier. Opening up a little through the front of that right hip flexor, and don't worry if this is not obtainable. Really, it's not a necessity. And don't worry if your knees are hovering off the ground still. In fact, both of mine are still in this posture. And then be careful, gentle as you release. And then come back through center, and we'll do the same thing on the second side. So we're just pausing now. If it feels comfortable enough, obtainable enough, right ankle on top of the left knee, keeping that right foot flexed might enable you to lock it in place a little easier. You might notice that you could do this on the first side and it's Much more of a struggle on the second. Again, just being curious, not judgmental. And gently, gently release. And then come back through to center. Bring the feet now much more aligned with the hips. Feet are parallel if possible. Try to avoid the toes turning out. And then just make a conscious effort to really try to imprint your back body into the mat, the earth. Bring the arms beside the body. We're setting up for a bridge here. Palms facing down. And consciously draw the shoulder blades in and tuck them together. And then start to bring the pubic bone towards the navel and then lift up about halfway. Get to a point where you feel like you might be able to walk the shoulder blades a little closer together. A little offering here for some people, holding onto the outer edges of your mat and pulling out gives us a little more lift and a bit more security in the pose. You're welcome to try that. And then squeeze lightly through the glutes and lift the hips. Inhale. And then exhale, roll down one vertebrae at a time, pubic bone towards the navel. Take a breath at the bottom. Inhale. You might even over tilt, lifting the lumbar, sit bones drawing down and up towards the back body. And then rotate again or roll up. Inhale. And then exhale, lowering. At the bottom, inhale. And then exhale, lifting. Just moving with a breath that kind of works for you. I noticed that I swapped it over there. Apologies if that was confusing. Just working with a rhythm of breath that actually works for you is totally fine. Lifting and lowering, but choosing to pause a little bit between the lift and the lower. Let's go for one more. Getting a bit more movement through the hips. Maybe you can lift them a little higher as you squeeze the glutes, lifting. And then all the way back down. So from here, draw the knees in and give yourself a generous hug. Knees are hugging up and in towards the face, and your face might even lift up and in towards those knees. One more breath into that little ball. And then either roll to one side or rock and roll up and down the length of your mat, your choice, what you might like to do there. And then come to soles of feet together and bow forwards. So you've created a diamond shape or a butterfly shape with those legs. I haven't actually drawn the heels in super close. I'm keeping them a bit further away into a butterfly, Baddha Konasana. Gently bow forwards here and let your spine be relaxed, the head heavy, and the knees just go where they feel like they can go. We're going to stay here for about 5 more breaths. So I'm not pushing my body. It is all just done by gravity. I'm not even holding on to my feet or my ankles. I'm just letting myself topple forwards. Maybe in time, you notice with each exhale, you can relax a little more through the back body, through the neck, through the shoulders. You might even choose, just for the last breath there, to gently tilt the chin a little one way and the other. And then roll your way up to seated. We'll sweep the legs behind us and come forwards and end up actually straight into a downward facing dog. So walking the feet back, the hands forwards. Again, a great one to feel into the ankles by pedaling through those feet. You might sweep the hips a little side to side. Maybe you really bend the knees. I quite like to imagine that I'm riding this really heavy old school bike with no gears up a hill. And it's super heavy. And you got to get your whole body into that action. Really bending through one knee and the other. And then come through to stillness. Do not worry if your heels are nowhere near the earth. Just see where the body goes at this moment. And then we're going to start to walk the hands back towards the feet. We're going to end up in a yogic squat. So widen the feet a little bit wider. Turn the toes out slightly, but not too wide. And just go where the hips will let you go. So this can be a really tricky pose for a lot of us. And it might be that we'll never get our hips down low. And it really depends on how we were born, as well as being able to build on flexibility. So don't overthink this. Just be aware of where can my body go. And it could be that we've got the heels lifted and we've got our arms up, or perhaps you've got blocks in front of you and you're holding onto something, okay? If I was going to get you to hold here for longer, I'd say put something behind, underneath the heels, but we're going to see if we can do a bit of movement here. So try to avoid wedging anything underneath. So it could be that you have to lift a little bit higher now through the hips, and it could be that you need to observe for a moment, so bear with me. And we're going to see if we can do a bit of a walk forwards. So I'll try and give you a couple of options here. Lift the hips, all of us together just for now, but keep the knees wide. And we're going to shift the weight into, I'll go for the right side. I'm going to shift my weight to the right side, step the left foot forwards. And then as I drop down my weight into my right hip, that right heel will lift, okay? I then want to shift the weight to the left side and see if I can really slowly bring the right foot forwards and then drop down. So it could be that you're not able to go this low. It could be that you're having to stay a whole lot higher. That's so okay. I'm going to see if I can really slowly duck waddle my way to the top of the mat. So you've ended up at the top of the mat. And then I'm going to bring my right foot back again first. This is a little tricky in terms of your coordination, but see if you can reverse the movement. So don't worry about the heel having to drop down if you're squatting into that heel. So I've got my left heel lifted as I bring my hips into that left heel. And then the other way. We're going to see if we can make this action a little more smooth. That first one is a little jerky. We're not really sure what we're doing. We're just going to attempt to walk our way forwards and back one more time. Can you make it as smooth as possible? So slow movements. It could be that you're up high. That's okay. Try never to straighten your legs and stand tall, if that's possible. I'm going to come to the top of my mat, and then I'm going to reverse it. I'm going to see if I can go down a little lower on this one. And the bottom of my mat. And then drop the knees to the earth and come through to child's pose. Well done. That is not just an ankle mobilizer, a hip mobilizer, but also a thigh burner. Come through to child's if that's still feeling uncomfortable for you and you're feeling a lot of sensation. Maybe cat-cow works better for you, or even a downward facing dog and those pedals. And then everyone come through to join in kneeling. We're going to tuck the toes here. So first variation, we can stay leaning forwards the whole time, have your hands to the earth. If we can, we've got our knees, our thighs quite close together for our toe squat here. And then walk the hands further in. If you feel like you could go there, you'll even lift all the way upright. See if you can hug those heels inwards rather than let them flare out, but just being aware of sensations that you're feeling in your own body. See if you can stay for 2 more breaths. Don't worry if you've already come out or leant forwards. This is not a competition. And then when you're ready, well done, leaning forwards and like a little tap out. Tap out Get me out. And well done. And then from here, once again, we're going to end up lying on our backs. This time we'll come back towards gravity, Baddha Konasana, soles of feet together, and the knees dropping down. Choose where it feels most comfortable for you to have your ankles. That could be further away from the groin or closer. And we're not pushing down with those hands on the legs. I've just rested. Hands on thighs, it feels comfortable for me. See if you can encourage a sense of heaviness through your legs, a sense of complete relaxation and letting go through inner groin, inner outer thigh, through the glutes. We'll stay for about 3 more breaths. And then bring the feet towards the earth, knees towards the sky. And loop your right leg over the top of the left. I'll give you a few different options in a moment, but we're going to head towards spinal twist. Press the left foot on the earth and just shimmy or scoot the hips an inch towards the right side. Then allow the knees to gently drop down towards the left side. Maybe you spread the arms somehow. If you find that the bind is too intense, undo the bind and stack knees one on top of the other, or it might be just preferable to stag the legs, so you've got one knee higher than the other. If it's comfortable to turn the gaze the opposite way from the knees, you could try that, but don't force it. So you might explore sensations here in this twist. You'll find that the higher your knees are towards your chest and the shoulders, probably the more intense that's going to be pulling through the hips and the glutes, maybe even through inner thigh. And it might be that that's feeling too much, so you could always drop the knees further away, but just playing around with a posture that works for your body today on the mat. You might notice that the breath becomes particularly caught, so do pay attention to the breath and pull an awareness of expansion through back body or side ribs as you breathe, especially if you've gone pretty deep into the twist. One more breath here on this side. And then drawing your way back through to center. Maybe you just take a pause and feel into the two sides. And then we'll swap it over to the other side. So I'm going to loop left leg over the right and then shimmy my hips slightly to the left side first. For me, this feels more aligned. It may be different for you. And there could be differences between the two sides. You might need to adjust the arms in a different shape, or the legs in a different shape. Again, being aware if the breath has become particularly caught, try to feel expansion through side ribs, back body. Last couple of breaths. And drawing ourselves back through to center. It is time for us to settle in for our final pose of deep, nourishing rest into Savasana. Here I leave you. I thank you for joining in our mobility practice today. Enjoy this space.
Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like it below, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell icon. Not only will this keep you up to date with my offerings, but will keep content like Tula being free and accessible to all.